Alright, hello everyone and welcome to a new type of video which I'm going to be doing. We're going to actually be taking a look at a tank as opposed to a replay. So for those of you that don't know this world of tanks, I've put up a couple of replays on my YouTube channel previously. If you want to check them out, they'll probably be in the link description below if I don't forget, or you can just go and look in my World of Tanks playlist and they should be in there. Now, this is a tank I have not featured on my channel before, and it is a tier 5 scout. It is the Leopard. Now, I am not normally one for scout tanks. I have a few. I'm working on the French line, as you can see here, with the 12T, so on and so forth, but I want to go through tier 5 scout tanks, because I've heard a lot of debate about which one's the best tier 5 scout tank. So if we look in the tech trees, we can see that the only tier 5 scout on the German tree is the Leopard. We kind of do, but this doesn't get scout matchmaking, it's just a light tank, so the British don't have one. The most common one that you probably hear of is the ELC AMX from the French tech tree. I don't know whether the Russian, these are the Chinese, so that doesn't matter. They have a boring tech tree. Tier 5, now this is one of the main points of controversy within Tier 5, the Chaffee. The Chaffee and the ELC are commonly argued over as to being the best scout tank. I can't remember whether the Russians have one, for the life of me. No, they do not. And I know the Japanese don't have one. So there's three. There's those three, the Leopard, the ELC, and the Chaffee. Personally, I've played the ELC and the Leopard. I love them both for a very good reason. And I haven't played the Chaffee, but I think it could be alright. I've seen its strengths, but I've also seen its weaknesses in games. So I'm going to run through those, and then we're going to take a look at some games. So, the Chaffee, let's just have a look at the guns here. So, this is the gun of the Leopard. Let's just get the gun for the ELC very quickly. I should have been more prepared. Oh, bugger me. That's not how you get the gun up, is it, you idiot? Right, so the top gun on the ELC is a 90mm, and then, assuming I haven't covered it up, which I have, the top gun on the Chaffee is this, 76mm. So you can see that there's instantly a difference with the guns that they get, and they have different focuses. So you can see that the Leopard gets a sort of machine gun autoloader, which does about 300 damage per clip with 95 penetration. The ELC gets a 90mm gun, which has 170 penetration and 240 damage, so it's a really, really good gun at tier 5, especially on a light tank. But its reload is 11 seconds with a gun rammer and a really good crew. The reload on the Leopard's gun, by the way, I've got mine at like an 88% crew. You can't put a rammer on it because it's an auto-loading, and I've got it at about 18 seconds right now. And then the gun on the Chaffee is a 76mm with 137mm penetration and 115 damage as standard. But this has a ridiculous rate of fire. 18.18 rounds per minute, which is crazy fast. I think you can get the reload down with a rammer and a top crew to something within a second, 1 point whatever seconds. So it's kind of ridiculous in its DPM, but you know. So my argument for the best tier 5 scout tank would actually be the Leopard. I love the Leopard so much. My second would be the ELC, and my last would be the Chaffee. Now when you look at the experience required to unlock these, you wouldn't really think that that's the case. I don't have the figures on me for how much it requires to research the Leopard and the ELC, but I know that it's in the 50,000 experience range to unlock the Chaffee, and yet it was probably only within the tens of thousands, like 15,000 XP or so, to unlock the Leopard and the ELC, I think. So it's like, obviously Wargaming think that the Chaffee is some miraculously god-gifted tank. But I don't think so. I also think it depends on the driver that you are. For me, I know that when I drive out in a scout tank, you are going to get penetrated with everything that hits you. That's how you've got to act. That's how you've got to think when you're playing these tanks. And the thing is that with the 18-second reload on the Leopard, the 11-second reload on the Leopard, you come out, you take your shot, you do the damage that you're going to do, and then you pull right back. I'll show you a couple of replays from my Leopard. Unfortunately, the ones which I have from my ALC are in an older version of all the tanks, and I haven't managed to get any new ones. So I can't show you those, because the maps are a bit corrupted. They'll do funny things, it won't look right. But basically, I think my main problem with the Chaffee is that to do a lot of damage and to be effective, you have to be constantly shooting, right? But for that, in the Chaffee, you sort of have to be constantly coming out. And so I know personally, I'd be coming out and not knowing when to come back in. With my ALC, it's easy. I come out, take a shot, and then I pull back for 11 seconds. I never stay out because I can't. I can't shoot, so what's the point in staying out? So these are my arguments for the Tier 5 Scouts. If I was to pick one for my favourite, and to recommend one, it would be this, the Leopard. All of them are very manoeuvrable and very, very fast, but the Leopard is the one for me which feels like it's the light tank, right? Because the Chaffee has like a really bulbous turret. It looks really, really weird because it's not the original historic Chaffee turret. That one's the first one, and you can't mount the Top Gun on that, I don't think. So it looks really weird, and it's kind of easy to hit, right? The ELC doesn't actually have a fully rotatable turret, so you have a very limited field in which you can actually shoot in. So this one, you can actually circle people, unload your clip, and then just dart off. And I'll show you a couple of times where we've done that. And these ones work really well in a pack as well, because you're auto-loading and you're just peppering away at them, circling them, and then running off. The ELC can also work well in a pack, and I think the Chaffee might as well if you get it right, but you have to be really, really skilled to do it. And this one, the Leopard for me, just actually feels like it's a light tank. Its traverse speed is ridiculous, 36 degrees per second, compared to the other one, it's just pretty good. I think the Chaffee has a pretty good one, ELC, not so much. Their top speeds are all around 60. I think the Chaffee may be a bit slower, but I can't be totally sure. And obviously their view ranges and stuff all depend on what kit loadout you have on them. So without further ado, I've gone through my explaining on why I like the Leopard and the ELC, and why I probably won't ever play the Chaffee, especially because it's 50,000 XP, and I can't be bothered to play through the Tier 4 lights to get that. So now I'm going to show you a couple of replays. I think I've got two lined up of the Leopard, and they should show you just what I mean by staying alive in the Leopard because of your reload. Because if I had the 1 point whatever second reload that I have with the Chaffee, I probably would die in every situation that I get into in these couple of games. So I will see you guys in just a second. Alright, so hello everyone, and welcome to the first replay which I'm going to show you for my Leopard sort of run through. I lied in the first bit, I have 3 replays instead of 2. I told you that I didn't know. I'm terrible with these sorts of things, so you just got to roll with it. So as you can see from the scoreboards, this is a tier 8 game, and I'm in a platoon with my faithful platoonies from Circ 4, WIS 11, and Luftwaffen. I may actually feature them in some live recordings which I'm doing later. Definitely WIS. Luft hasn't been online recently, so he may not be in soon, but he'll be in later most certainly because I platoon with him a lot. So that's just something to look forward to, which I thought I'd get out now. So I'm just going to start the replay. You can see that we're all in tier 5 light tanks. They're in their ELCs, and I'm in my Leopard. I'm just going to slow it right back down. I'm just looking at my tank, admiring the beauty, and you can see I instantly snap around. Now that's one of the main things, how agile this tank is. You can see that it's got the turret. I'm actually going to come out of the view there, because I think I do some weird looking around and crap. I'm not going to do it from this view here. But you can see when I turn corners and things, just how easily this thing turns, and it just feels really light, and that's what I love about it. So you can see that I get 4 shots, but because it's like a machine gun, it does bam, bam every time I click. So it's kind of decent in that way. I'm actually going to make the map a bit bigger so you can see what's going on. So you can see I'm the first one up here. Now this is a really good scouting position if you want to see this side of the map. Wiss and Luft are just coming up behind me. They spawned further away, so that's why they're a bit behind. We've got 2 tier 8 tanks for support and artillery. And it's an assault, so we've mainly got to go for the cap, and they're going to be defending. So being a light tank right now is about spotting instead of dealing damage. And because it's a tier 8 game, dealing damage probably isn't what we're going to do. Now as you can see there, artillery just had a go at us. It was a Hummel because the ELC struck us. Oh, holy crap, that's loud.
That one didn't go through.
Sounds. Piss off. To 5, please. I'm missing the replay. There we go. Right, so the ELC died. You can see I got a couple of shots in there, but because of range, the velocity of this gun just isn't that great, so you lose a lot of penetration at range. But you see that that guy got mopped up pretty quickly when we charged him down as a bunch of light tanks. We basically just came over here and charged him down. So you see the AT-15 there, I'm using this ridgeline as cover, and I instantly see what's going to happen. Wiss starts taking the fire. I haven't taken any damage yet, but they have. They're just sort of going in a bit YOLO. And I'm trying to stay back a bit. I'm being sensible, they're playing for fun, it wasn't really their fault, they were just doing what Cirque do best. So I see this 1375, and I keep on forgetting about the penetration at range, so I'm trying to have a go, because he's a light tank. He's got no armour. Surely it should hit him, but no. They all hit, they all bounce. Some of them hit the building, but that's because of dispersion. So I see that I can no longer progress on this flank. You've got the AT-15, who's there, the IS-6 who's there, Wiss just got taken out by the Jagdpanzer 4 here. This flank, I'm not going to do anything more. So I'm going to follow Luft. Excuse me. He's already gone across the bridge, he's going along the other side, and we're going to see what we can do on this flank instead. You can see here that they've just taken out a VK, but they've got quite a lot of tanks strewn in along this ridge line here. And they're probably going to have some tanks in support here, and they've definitely got artillery still in play. So we've got to be careful about this one. We just lost to Ferdinand, where Luft is, which is a bit depressing because he's one of our top tier TDs. So I'm just coming across here. I'm not going to speed it up because we're light tanks, and it just gives you a good aspect of the speed. Hitting 60 kilometers steady, and you just feel like you're a light tank. Now I don't know, I think Luft was waiting for me, so he sort of span around the castle once, waiting for me to go first, because I could at least take one hit. And I see that going up on the top of this ridgeline would be a bit of a silly move, but I do it anyway. Just to spot, I'm not going to sit on top of there and try and spot them permanently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to loop up, and then loop right back down on the other side of this T-32. I penetrate one shot, dodge a shot from the KV-1S. Luft comes in and gets the last 9 damage. You can see where the gun has lackluster penetration compared to the other TDs, the other light tanks, but it's still good. Now Luft got taken out by the Pershing over there, and I'm going to come along the side of this KV-1S. Now I'm actually going to go into my view here to see what I did. I'm thinking about getting shots on the side of the KV-1S turret, but I see that I'm not going to penetrate it very well. So I take a minute, wait for him to come out, and then I spray a bunch of shots into the back of him and secure the kill. Now you saw a butt ton of damage there. Obviously someone else shot him as well, for about 300, but I did about 300 as well. And the great thing about it being machine gun is that with every hit, no matter how minuscule, if you hit their engine, you have a chance of setting them on fire. So when I'm firing so many shots, you've got a very high chance of setting people on fire when you're shooting at their arse, which is the great thing about this gun as opposed to the ELC. Now, the artillery, just come over, just take him out with a shot, which is pretty awesome. And then I see this Pershing, I'm going to come over the top. He's got little to no armour, still bounce a couple of shots, but I get some damage in as well. We're up to 711 right now. For a tier 5 scout in a tier 8 game, that's not too shabby at all. The Tiger II finishes off the Pershing, and so we're going to come across and deal with the defenders who were giving us so much trouble before. There's just 4 of them left, 3 TDs and a scout tank. All got pretty low caliber guns, but if they were able to hit me, they could still take me out pretty quickly. So you can see our tier 8s are sort of trying to mop them up right now, but because they're surrounded, they don't do it very quickly. Now this is where I run into a spot of bother. You can see that I get penetrated by this Nashorn, and I come over quickly into the dip, and somehow he bounces! It was a miracle, but somehow he bounces. And this is where the Nashorn has a disadvantage of that little thing sticking out the top, and I just finish him. He bounces again, so I don't know. I think that may have been on the front of my turret. Yeah, see look, he hit the mantlet of my gun, just on the underneath, you can see it there, and he hit it twice, so that's why he bounced, because the angle at which he must have hit it was like an auto bounce angle, so he just wasn't going to do anything there. You can see the E25 gets taken out. It's just up to the AMX 1375 now. He's facing down 2 tier 8 tanks. He's never going to live through this. I come in, get a couple of bits of damage, shooting on the move. He actually takes out the T-34, which was pretty awesome. I was gonna go for the Ram, then the T-28 proc kills him, which is suckish, but never mind. So that's the first replay done. I will be right back with the score screens, and then we'll go into the second and take a look at the third replay as well. So I will see you guys in just a second. Okay, so welcome to the score screens for the first Leopard game that I just showed you. Now, you can see that was a mastery badge, 3,218 experience, doubled with a premium account, and we did relatively well. Obviously, we destroyed, 3 vehicles, we damaged a bunch of modules, which you can see on the KV-1S. I can't tell you what they are, because this World of Tanks replay site does not do that for you. But you can see that, as I was talking about in the replay, when you're firing with a machine gun, you've just got so much chance of peppering away through their modules of the tanks. So let's take a look at the other parts. You can see that damage wise we didn't do amazingly well, but considering we came just below a bunch of top tiers, there was one tier 7 that came before us, it's not too bad, is it really? We did more damage than a tier 7 heavy, we did more damage than a tier 8 TD, so not too shabby. And on their team, when you look, we did more damage than everyone but 4 of their team in a light tank. So, and the thing is, with damage and spotting in light tanks, you have to stay alive. It's not just about YOLOing straight in and winning, it's about staying alive. So you can see we made a decent amount of credits there. We didn't actually do a lot of spotting damage, only about 1,006, but combined with the 1,006 spotting damage, the 882 that we did to pretty much tier 8 targets, tier 6 and above, so they were all above our tier that we damaged, apart from the ELC for a little bit. We did pretty well, and that's why the XP is so high, but we wouldn't have been able to do this if we hadn't have stayed alive, and that's what the reload did for us. Every time I unloaded a clip, I went back down in an undulation and was allowed to just loop around to my next target, and by the time I got to my next target, I had reloaded another clip and could fire again. Now obviously some of you might be thinking, well, that was very circumstantial. What if that circumstance hadn't arisen where their tanks were sort of crap? Thank you, user, for joining my channel. God damn it, while I was speaking. Anyway, what if that doesn't happen to me? I mean, it's just gonna suck, because every time I try and go down in a dip, they're just gonna shoot me. Their aim was crap, whatever the hell. Yes, some of the light tank gameplay is circumstantial. But when you think about the whole basis of World of Tanks and RNG, that's what it is. It's all about your luck and how you drive the tank. If I wasn't constantly moving around and driving into these undulations, sure, the KV-1S missed me once, luckily, when I was shooting at the T-32. But I was moving, making myself a harder target to hit, and that's the entire point. So let's have a look at the second replay. I can't even remember what these replays are until I look at them. So let's have a look, and we'll see what that one's like. See you in a second. Alright, hello guys, and welcome back to the second replay from the Leopard, looking at the tier 5 scout tanks. So this time you can see that we are on Serene Coast. It's tier 7 battle, 66% chance to win, but that can never be listened to. I'm in the same platoon again with Luftwaffe and WIS 11, and they're in the same tanks as they were before. So let's just get straight into it Oh, hello. Why is it going for a replay speed of that? That's not what I wanted. I wanted it faster, damn it. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Now this game's got a few comedy moments in it as well. So we're just going to see how it goes.
Time to roll out.
Alright, so we're heading off to the left flank. Can't quite remember if I go in the dip or not. No, I remember what we do. Sorry, we head right up around this section of the map. There's a lot of undulations here which you can use for cover, which is really, really nice for scout tanks, medium tanks, all kinds of tanks really, as long as you have gun depression. Now these E25s on our team are going to become important later. I don't think that specific one is, but at least one of them is. So we spot out one of their scout tanks just coming across, not very important. He may have spotted us, but I highly doubt it. You can see I'm just ramming Wiss out of the way here. We're just having a bit of friendly banter, because that's what we do. So we're going to come up to the ridgeline, and hopefully we're going to spot a bunch of tanks. You can see their second Leopard's been spotted out, and their Chi-Ri. Wasn't by me, though, so we're not going to get that spotting damage. However, the MT-25 spotted out. Luft is just going for it. I take some shots, get all of my clip off, and I just watch him to see what he's going to do. Luft going in, he gets hit a couple of times, gets a nice hit in a minute, I think. MT-25's got a pretty small gun, he's a tier 6 light tank, but you can see there 268 damage right through him. And bam, finish him off. Now, I'm just going to pause there for just a second and run you through what I did wrong. And that's my problem, which I think I'd have with Chaffee as I discussed at the beginning. You can see that I did not pop right back into cover while I was reloading. That was an 18-second reload which I just had there, and a Hellcat took advantage of the fact which I was just sitting there and did 219 damage to me just for free, because I didn't even spot him or anything, because I was reloading, being an idiot, and just sitting right out in the open, and that is something which you don't want to do. That's why the reload is so crucial. So you can see now, I'm just coming out trying to spot some tanks during my reload. That you can do. But as soon as I see the Chi-Ri look at me, I'm like, oh god, and I pull right back. Because while I'm reloading, I can't do anything. So you see I come down further into this dip, loop around, be safe, coming around. Luft's on very low health. Wiss hasn't taken a hit yet, but I don't think he's done damage either. He just got set on fire from the VK. So he's lost a bit of his health now. He just rammed our A43 as well. So you see I'm using the dips and the fact that I'm very fast and maneuverable to just get around the VK. He's missing tons of his shots. So I'm going to come around and see what damage I can get on this Chi-Ri. He's got very little in the way of armor. Bounced the Hellcat by some miracle. I could have died there. And you see I've got one shot left in my clip, but I start reloading it now because it's better not to get myself into trouble. After we finished off the Chi-Ri, I just spin right around, go back into these dips, see that the E25 needs help. Now I judge it, and I know that there are these dips, and I know the VK is distracted, so I come around this corner, and know that I'll be reloaded and on his arse by the time I need to be. And I just finish him off. The E25 rounds him, gets a couple of shots in, but I'm able to do the last bit of damage and finish him off, which leaves us on 3 kills so far. You can see I'm just waiting for this Hellcat to get taken out while I'm reloading, moving backwards and forwards in the dip, because I wasn't quite looking, but I thought they might have artillery or someone might have a shot on me, so it's always good to be moving anyway. And now it's just a case of mopping up. We've only lost 2 tanks. They're down by quite a few. They've got 5 left. It's 10-2. It's just literally mopping up the scraps. So I thought I was going to come along here and get this toaster, but unfortunately he dies before I can get there, as you just saw. So I'm coming up with these 2 E25s. Luft is steaming ahead in his ELC, and we just see this Jagdpanther. He's screaming for me to take the shots and kill this guy. Luckily he misses Luft, and the E25 finishes him off, but I get quite a bit of damage there on the back of his casing. So you can see the Churchill 1 just got taken out by the SU-152. The T-29 is here, so I come around the bottom here, and these shots, bit of a mistake, weren't going to penetrate him, so I just give up with that one clip, come around to his arse, get tons of penetrations. He rams me for 21 damage, not too much of a problem, and you can see right there, set him on fire. That's what I'm talking about. The chance of setting people on fire with this gun is ridiculous, and he does a full burn as well, unfortunately leaving him on 11 health, and I don't reload in time to get that kill. But Luft comes in for the masterful ram right there, ends up hitting the front of his turret. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Luckily he didn't die. The ELC does a dick move right now, I think. Wait for it. There we go, he tracks me, because he wants the last bit of the damage. Now this pisses me off slightly, so I am going to repair my tracks, and I have one last mission. I don't do any damage to the enemy team, but I make sure that he's not going to do any, because he is a dickhead. Simple enough. Simple as that. So you see we did 1,754 damage. The last of the enemy team has been taken out. I will see you in just a second on the score screen. Right, yo guys, so here we are on the score screen for that second game. You can see I killed that douchebag in the E25 there, but I didn't go blue for it, so it's perfectly alright. He, at the end of the day, tracked me, so I think it's fair and fair. And you can get banned for doing what he did. If you constantly keep tracking someone, you can go blue for that as well. It's still counted as team damage, so all fair's in love and war. But you can see it was another mastery badge, another like 3,000 something XP like the last game was, on a double. Made a lovely amount of credits. So it was all pretty good right there. Team score, now this is where it becomes important. I don't want to translate the page, piss off. Sorting it by damage, in a tier 7 game, the tier 5 light tank comes out on top. Obviously the IS did just 300 more damage than I am, but he's a tier 7 heavy tank with a 350 alpha damage gun. He's meant to. So, all in all, not too bad. Come out with 2 kills, same as him, and tons more XP, at least 700 more than everyone else. So, not too shabby on the team scores. As I said, 1,754 damage. Not all that much spotting damage. 1,000. No, 100 even. 1,000? Where am I getting that from? So you can see, only did 100 spotting damage. But, with tier 5 light tanks, I tend not to get my mastery badges from doing a butt ton of scouting. I am a very aggressive light tank driver, and I like to do the damage, be the little irritating thorn in your side. If you meet me in a light tank and I'm having a good day, it might not be your good day, because I'm just going to carry on poking you for as long as I can. But if I'm having a bad day, you're probably just going to shoot me in the face for once. Ammo racked me, my turret's going to fly off into some humorous little land of nowhere. So you can see that that was a relatively decent game, only lasted like 5 minutes. We just raffle stomped that team. So let's get on with the final replay, and I just want to reiterate, I stayed alive because of the reload. It's the same with the ELC replays that I did have lined up. It's all down to this reload which is keeping me alive. Because you pull back, you don't sit there and get shot and lose all your health, because you don't have a lot to play with, only about 400 in them. So anyway guys, I will see you in the third and final replay. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the third and final replay of my tier 5 scout overview thingy-mabob, whatever I decide to call the bloody video. So you can see we're in another tier 7 game, and it's only me and Luft this time. Wiz is AFK. These were all played, all 3 of these games were played on the same day. And you can see that from the previous 2 games that we played, I've convinced Luft to go for the Leopard. He bought the Lux, but he's not going to have any problems. The Lux has the same gun that I do. It's a little bit worse because it's on a tier 4 light tank, but he has a lot of the same characteristics. And this game is really showing off the teamwork aspect of these tanks and how you can just wolf pack people. So just going to speed it up here. It's a game on Himmelsdorf, by the way, in case you didn't notice. So me and Luft are going to drive off to the left. You can see we're both pretty agile tanks, both of the same line of tanks, and we're just going to head over, see what we can spot, and see what we can do. I think his reload's a little bit worse than mine, and he's waiting for me to go first, as he should do, because I'm the tier 5, he's the tier 4. He's just going to be following me in, and we're going to be working together to take out the enemy tanks. So we come along to the far left hand side. We want to make sure that we're not getting spotted. The M5A1 Stuart couldn't have spotted us, he's on the other side of the buildings. It was our heavy tanks, the Tiger 1, that spotted him. So we're just coming around behind this wall. We haven't spotted anything out yet. And because of that, we think there can't really be a lot on this side. We'll carry on going and see if we can find ourselves an artillery player. Because there is one on the enemy team. And we come around and, oh crap, that's a Tiger P with 200mm of frontal armor. I bounce him somehow. I realise I'm not going to pen him in the side. One of those shots miraculously goes up to the top. And Luft puts them into the side of his turret with a lot better use of his gun than I do. But this is where the teamwork comes in. I'm staying on one side of him, Luft is staying on the other, circling him. I'm staying in cover while my reload goes. He just doesn't know what to do. And then you see I track him, and this is the key. I did all of that damage into his drive wheel, and I tracked him. Then Luft, what I tell him to do, is just carry on hitting him in his drive wheel, and this will keep him tracked. And through the two of us, we can get him tracked. Now, the M5A1 Stuart is going to be Luft's biggest problem. I put a couple of shots into the Tiger P, we deal with him, he's gone. SU-122-44 comes in and finishes him off. I do a bit of damage to the Stuart, because Luft's asking for help. He puts in a couple of shots, the Hummel then comes in and finishes off the Stuart. So we're all alright there. So we come around, the SU-152 luckily didn't turn towards us, otherwise we could have had a problem, and the Chi-Nu is there. So we come around, I get the last bits of damage through shooting through the truck, and I'm like, is this Tiger AFK? Seems like it, cool, free damage! Hooray! So I start going out, and this is where I do a very stupid thing. I start going out, thinking he's AFK. Oh shit. Guess who just woke up? It's the Tiger 2. So I'm reloading, and I'm really close. He luckily misses that shot. Luft starts peppering away at him. I'm not even worrying about aiming at this point. I am shitting myself. Because a Tiger 1 against this tank, he has a 5-second reload with that 88mm. He can kill me pretty damn hard. So I got very little health left, and the rest of this game is kind of not that interesting really, but it's showing how the reload keeps me alive. So I start heading up this hill, the Comet appears, I'm like, no, and I pull right back, one more shot and he would have had me, so I'm going to speed it up. Luft is on very low health as well, he's not going to be doing anything. So you just see, we're poking out, we're just wanting to do something. I come out at an auto bounce angle, but if they hit my front, then I'm buggered. So I'm aiming for the side of the Sherman, and bam, get him. The Comet and the Sherman bounce, and I managed to get those shots into his side. Now the SU-122-44 is going up to have a go, and I don't think we do anything else in this game, so I'm just going to speed it up a bit. I think the SU-122-44 just fired high explosive at a Comet, because, you know, logic. It's just the Comet left, he's getting completely surrounded, but me and Luft don't want to die, if I'm honest. So we just stay alive. I don't do as much damage, that wasn't an amazingly impressive damage game, but it does show you how you can take on a tier 7 tank with 200mm of frontal armor in this tank if you're in a wolf pack and just completely dominate. So I will be right back with the score screens of this final replay, and I will see you in just a second. Right guys, so here is the last replay, the last statistics of the last replay of the day, loads of lasts. You can see we didn't do a lot of damage in that game. Not tons, but we did do 2 modules of damage to that Tiger P, and we got 2 kills out of it. So you can see it was a first class mastery, it was not a double, so... In fact, actually, no, I told a lie earlier. The first game was from the day before, the second game was the same day, because that's how I got 2 doubles and then this one, so... I did tell a lie, these weren't all from the same day, but they were from 2 days. Right next to each other. So you can see, damage-wise, it wasn't that impressive. Again, if you sort it by damage, Luft was there, I was just above him. Tons of tanks did more damage than we did. Sorted by XP, Luft's right up there in 4th, I'm up there in 2nd. We did a lot for the team in terms of XP. We were all shooting at higher tier targets. I got 847 spotting damage, 669 actual. And what did Luft get? 379 damage upon spotting and 604 damage in his tier 4 light tank. So that's a pretty impressive feat, and because we wolf packed, we did a combined damage of about, what, 1300 or so, and got a decent amount of XP and credits, and we just kind of owned tier 7 tanks in our light tanks from tier 4 and tier 5. So imagine if he was in a Leopard, he would have been able to do the same, if not more, because he'd have more damage output with his gun. He'd have the same as I did. So, in all honesty, this is why I think that tier 5 scouts belong to the Leopard and the ELC, because you just stay alive. Apart from the two stupid mistakes which I've shown you in this video, and hopefully now you know not to go and do what I did, I stayed alive because of the reload. In the Chaffee, I would have just carried on coming out. I would have been like, oh, 1 point something reload seconds. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, bollocks, I'm dead. I lost all my health because I didn't go back into cover. Excuse me. And that's the problem. I see a lot of Chaffee players die because of their reload. I don't see a lot of Chaffee players, unless they're extremely good, come out with this sort of damage output, because they normally die if they try to. Whereas I've seen plenty of Leopard drivers do pretty well, and enough ELC drivers to do pretty well. I mean, one of the replays which I had was a tier 8 game in my ELC, and I did more damage than everyone else in the team. It was a mastery badge, and this is tier 8. Things like a Rheinmetall Borsig, which can do 500 damage per shot, and I did more damage than it in a tier 5 light tank? What the hell's with that? I'm not even a good player. I'm average. And yet, just because the reload kept me alive and I used the terrain and the tank's mobility to my advantage, I was able to stay alive. So don't overlook the tier 5 light tanks like the Leopard and the ELC, or the Chaffee, because the Chaffee's still a good tank once you know how to drive it and master it. But I would recommend, if you want to learn how to light tank, the German line is probably the best, just because everywhere up to the ELC on the French line is not a light tank. They're slow ass crap. Whereas you get things like the Lux, which is what Luft was driving in this game, and they're pretty freaking awesome in the German line, and they teach you how to light tank a lot better than the American light tanks will, a lot better than anything else will. So I hope this has been a sort of educational video and an entertaining video at that. It's taken a little bit more effort to put together, but all in all I think it's been worth it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please do leave me a rating by liking, favoriting, whatever the hell. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already. And also be sure to leave your feedback on this sort of format of video in the description below. It would be really helpful to know what you guys think. So hopefully I'll see you next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you later.